Hey y'all, blessings. Some of y'all, most of y'all have likely heard about what happened with Broski, lady who witnessed the murder of her two kids and her baby father right in front of her by another baby father, and who killed himself. So sad. Also wanted to say, I think my last video, my title mentioned about the guy that her baby father that did the murder was her lover. And I was wrong for putting that there. Of course, I don't know. A lot of y'all were saying that he's not her lover. But of course, we don't know. Only God knows. And of course, unless you get really verified from herself, because her relative can testify that they're not lovers anymore. We don't know. Ultimately, Raven knows the answer to that. If she and her first baby father believed that when I died, they got murdered, if they were still seeing each other at all, in any capacity. But yeah, the guy that murdered the kids and her other baby father. Wow. There's a lot of people out here, who have toxic obsession. They hate to see you thrive. They hate to see you go to the next level. They hate to see you get healed and take charge of your life. And they try to hold you back. Maybe that was the guy's issue. Maybe he had some kind of toxic obsession with the girl. I don't know. Right? But evidently, he was seeing her make a move to further her life, to progress away from him. And he couldn't stand it. That is sad when there's people out there whose identity, their purpose, their emotion is so tied up with somebody else. And they want to keep you on this low level. Rather than see you fly with the eagles, they want to see you continue to stay clucking with the chickens. It's so sad. Leave that person alone. I'm also listening to a book right now called Our Body Keeps Her Score. Very interesting book. And the guy was saying, that's the doctor, he's like, a lot of people who are in abusive, who are in abusive relationships, or been exposed to abusive parent, abusive sibling, physically, emotionally, sexually, right? A lot of them people who've been abused, they grow up to be abusers themselves, or become victims of abuse in a romantic relationship. Wow. And yeah, I've heard the phrase before that we marry our unfinished business. So many people are growing up still scarred, still wounded. That scared little boy, that scared little girl is within, right? And we gotta talk to that kid, talk to that person, deal with that pain, and say, man, you don't see that boyfriend, that girlfriend. You don't notice their temper tantrum. You don't notice their controlling issue. You don't notice their impatience. You don't notice these things. I think you do notice, but you're afraid to be alone. Maybe you've normalized this because this is what we went through when we were kids. This is what we went through, right? And there's other book I listened to where the guy was like, there's people who are give an example of a kid that was always staying in the closet trying to hide from that relative, that parent that molested them, hiding in the closet, afraid to come out. We got to talk to that kid that's inside of us, be like, come out. That person's not there anymore. I checked, they're gone. And they've been gone for a long time. And a lot of us are hiding in proverbial closets. We're hiding from the truth, the reality of our wounds, of our hurt, that's keeping us, pushing us to continue in abusive relationships. Refusing to come out. And we got to talk to that kid and say, it's time for us to live, man. Don't let that closet become a prison now. Don't let that closet now become your prison that's keeping you from thriving because of fear of what might happen to you once you leave that closet. And because you feel like I might be exposed to God knows what. in many areas of life, fear is keeping us from pushing forward, from moving forward. Right? So we have to deal with first of all our pain, our baggage. Because a lot of people, we tend to always say, he's the problem, she's the problem, and they could well be a problem in some areas, right? But are you having poor discernment? Are you lacking peace in your own body? Are you lacking healing in your own body that you're always going to somebody else? Anybody. One night stand. You're quick to lie down with. You're quick to lay down with. And I'm not saying this was a situation with Raven. I don't know if she was in an abusive environment growing up. I don't know if that baby daddy that did the murders, if he grew up in an abusive situation. I don't know. But if that's the case, that needs to be addressed, because a lot of people, they grow up in abusive situations, and then they get older, find somebody, and many times it's pretty quick that they lie down and they have sex and have babies, and then wow, you know, with this person, that was not right, you know, many times. Right. And I used to be with a girl that had problems, you know, just deep problems with her way too long, you know. And I saw the red flags, and I thought things would get better. You know, things are okay for a while, and things, you know, start to go downhill again, and things get better again. Things go downhill again, and I knew it. But I hope that she would get better, and I didn't want to be alone. And you know, I want love, man. I want love, but love is out there. There's so much people out there. We think that it's the only person out there for us and no one else. But this person is toxic. There's healthy out there. There's and there's part of you that knows you can do better. You know you can do better. You know people out there are healthy, right? There's people who used to be in bad relationships, and they thought that's all they knew. And now they chose somebody way better. Like, why did I waste so much time with this toxic person? Why? Don't think so small. In relationships, in career, in your life, don't think small. In friendships, don't think small. I wish we talked more about dealing with emotional pain in this world. It's always the same old thing about movies, and even in movies and music and typical conversation with coworkers and family. We don't talk about real things, edifying things. I mean, it's always about, I don't know, the latest movie that's out, who won the Grammy Award, and you know, we gossiping about that person, about how they slept with that person, how I slept with that person. How would we say, man, they slept with that person, man, this person have a problem with being sexually loose. What can we do to have better self-control with our sexual feelings? A lot of people don't bring that up. You know, right? In the schools, even in homes, on TV, you don't hear about, man, how do we deal with anger? How do we deal with rage? How do we deal with trauma? How do we deal with unhealthy communication? How do we, you don't hear about it. How do we deal with pain? In life, you're going to go through pain. Emotional pain is probably the most severe pain, in my opinion. A lot of times we don't talk about it and find solutions. It's always every other talk we talk about, every other thing. What am I gonna smoke? What am I gonna drink? Well, you know, next party. Let's talk about things that really matter, that will transform our life. Get healed. Get well. Choose better. Don't settle for mediocrity. Deal with yourself before you deal with other people. All right, y'all. Let's choose healthier. And we cannot choose healthier if we're not healthy ourselves. All right, y'all. I love y'all. Blessings.